It's day 3 of the 2013 World Field Target Championships and the final chance for the world's elite marksmen and women to stake their claim to the crown. England's Simon Ayres leads John Costello and Greg Sauvé by 2 shots, but the weather has taken a turn for the worse and the wind has finally arrived. With Costello and Ayres on the yellow course and Sauvé, McFlynn and Rushton on the black course, the conditions will almost certainly differ. Over the previous 2 days, the yellow course has been hailed as the most difficult of the 3. But with it having more cover down in a small valley and the black course being exposed on the top of a hill, the odds look to be pretty even.
Okay, day 3, top of the table is really tight. We've got Simon Ayres, the guy I travelled with. Absolute nightmare if he wins 2 ahead. I'm joined second, and then with Greg Sauvé, and there's a load of people underneath that. So today is going to be more of a mental challenge, just because you've had to be on it for so long. So it's going to be fill yourself full of sugar, loads of water, and hope for the best.
Third day was it's probably the most hungry I've ever been to hit targets, and it's quite a hard thing to explain, but I just had a song going through my head, and it was I didn't feel like missing. I went out to clear the course because I knew that was what had to be done to close the door.
Simon Ayres double dinks his very first lane of the day, meaning that his 2-shot advantage is all but wiped out. It certainly seems like the nerves have gotten the better of him. John hits target after target as he digs in for a long day on the course.
I double missed the lane, about 10, I target 11 and 12. Both just took more wind than I'd ever thought to give. So with that, I was a bit disheartened, but it was just, you had to just get back on it and then clear the last 38.
John's double miss means he slips back to 2 shots behind Simon Ayres once again. Simon quietly retreats into his bubble and goes about his day knowing that double dink on his first lane could prove costly. Neither shooter wants to drop any more shots. On the black course, Spain's Jose Redondo drops several shots quite early and falls back out of contention. Anna McFlynn, Greg Sauvé and Harold Rushton have all dropped 3 shots by the halfway point, and it looks very difficult for them to get back into contention, especially with the wind swirling on the black course.
that.
John Costello continues to shoot magnificently and hasn't dropped another shot since his double dink. He digs in and soaks up the pressure. Reigning world champion Andy Gillett hasn't dropped a single shot so far, but comes unstuck just after the halfway stage. Costello hasn't dropped another single shot as he approaches the final few lanes of the course. However, news comes through that Andy Gillett has dropped more shots and Simon Ayres has dropped another. John keeps himself away from the whispers and concentrates on his own shooting, unaware that it's so close at the top of the leaderboard. John approaches his final lane none the wiser that he is one shot behind his good friend and travel companion Simon Ayres. As John settles into his final lane, Simon Ayres misses another shot and they are now tied. John needs to hit both of these targets.
The first one was a 48-yard full-size kill, and that to be honest, it was a little bit windy, but I just thought, well, if I'm going to let sort of fate decide it.
John's last but one target falls. One more to go. John hits his very last target and is tied with Simon Ayres.
Do you want to know how Simon's got on?
Yeah, go on then.
So you've dropped 2.
Yep.
He was 2 ahead of you. He's dropped 4 and you got 2 lanes left. If he drops a shot, you're the world champion. If he doesn't, you're in a shoot-off.
Sound. I'll get ready.
I just went back to the car park just expecting to do a shoot-off. I tried to find out other people's scores as well, because I mean there was only sort of, from what I heard, Greg who could have overtook us, but he had a bit of a bad day on the last one. So yeah, it was kind of that realisation that I'm either in a shoot-off or I've won it.
Simon Ayres prepares for his final lane and hits both of his targets. However, he shoots them out of numerical order and automatically loses the points.
Yeah, I genuinely thought that he wouldn't have missed them. I mean, I did say to Dan, he's the type of guy that I could imagine missing his last lane. Whether I put a jinx on or something, I didn't mean to, but yeah, he's the type of person as well who's a phenomenal standing kneeling shot, so in a shoot-off he would have been really tough to beat. Genuinely thought we were going to have to shoot off for it. I just thought it would have been a beautiful end to the competition. You travel all this way, then you've got to shoot off for first and second between the two mates, but yeah, he shot his last lane out of order, which, as I say, is a bit unlucky, but it's just that, I suppose, having that mental edge towards the very end, that it just let him go a bit, you know. So it was a weird feeling just being in limbo waiting to see what happened. So yeah, that was pretty much me, just sat waiting in anticipation until Dan caught us with the result at the end.
You joking?
Just been down, he just said to me about he's missed 2 of them, he just said.
So what's that put him on?
What's that?
What's that put him on?
That puts him 6. So you finished on 2.
If that's not true, I'm going to punch you in the jaw.
I've just been down there, and he turned to Birdie and he said, I've just missed the 2 of them.
Disbelief, really. It's just one of those things that it's hard to explain. Like, it's one of those things we worked 11 years towards, like me and my dad, all the hours we put in the travelling.
That's pretty cool.
So is that John Costello, the 2013 WFTF World Champion?
Yeah, I think so.
And then when you finally get something like that, there's not really a word that can really describe it, apart from, I suppose, euphoria. It was just, yeah, it was pretty cool.
John Costello is the 2013 World Field Target Federation World Champion and the youngest by around 10 years. Simon Ayres finishes runner-up after beating Russia's Sergei Zabenko in a shoot-off. And this is how the other categories finished on the final day. America's Greg Save secured another men's PCP Veterans Championship. South Africa's young talent was out on show, taking all 3 podium positions in the junior competition, with JP de Jager taking the title. Natalie Terblanche, also of South Africa, was crowned ladies champion, some 9 shots ahead of the 2012 champion Portugal's Anna Pereira. Lithuania's Linas Burvis won the Spring Gun Championship ahead of England's Brian Sampson. Tune in tomorrow to see how life has changed for John Costello and what's next after he's lifted the World Field Target Championship.